Test, 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 test.
It is 6 p.m. Good evening. It is Thursday, July 16th, 2026. This is the Huntley School District 158 Board of Education meeting. Good evening, Mrs. Woods officiating this evening. Welcome, and could I have roll call, please?
Mr. Craddy? Mr. Ruth?
Here.
Mr. Troy?
Here.
Mr. Feckety?
Here.
Mrs. Murray?
Here.
Mr. Bobby?
Here.
Mrs. Myarino? Here.
We have 6 board members. That makes for a quorum. Item 2, closed session. I move to enter into closed session at 6:01 p.m. for the items, for the exceptions per the Open Meetings Act and 5 ILCS 120/2C pertaining to the following items: the appointment, employment, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees or legal counsel, purchase or lease of real property, matters related to individual students, discussion of minutes, meetings lawfully closed under this act.
Second.
From Mr. Feckety. Have a roll call vote, please.
Ms. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Bobby?
Yes.
Mrs. Myarino?
Yes.
Mr. Ruth?
Yes.
Mr. Troy?
Yes.
And Mr. Feckety?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. We are in closed session until approximately 7 p.m. Thank you.
You're welcome.
evening again. This is the Huntley Community School District 158 Board of Education meeting, Thursday, July 16th, 2026. We're returning back from closed session. There's nothing to vote on from closed session. With that, at 7:11 p.m., I have roll call, please.
Mrs. Iarino? Here. Mr. Grady? Mr. Ruth?
Here.
Mr. Troy?
Here.
Mr. Feckety?
Here.
Mrs. Murray?
Here.
And Mr. Bobby?
Here. All right, we have 6 board members, so we still have our quorum. Before we get started, there's something that we want to convey to the community. We had the passing of a student recently, and so before we begin Pledge of Allegiance, I'd like to take a pause and honor the memory of one of our students who passed away. Elias Eli Gozan, student at Chesauk Elementary, passed away on June 17th. Those that knew and worked with Eli shared that he had an incredible kind heart and a smile that would light up the room. Our hearts, community, go out to his family, friends, and loved ones during this incredibly difficult time. Please take a moment of silence to reflect, remember, and honor Eli and the happiness and joy he brought for the Huntley 158 community. Thank you. With that, our next item here is the Pledge of Allegiance. I ask everybody to stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 5 on our agenda. God bless you. Thank you. Public comment. Do we have any sheets in the bin?
No, there aren't any.
Excellent, thank you. Revision and adoption of the agenda. This one's going to take a little bit of twister, so follow me if you could, please. We do have representatives from Gallagher here this evening, and instead of having them wait through most of the meeting to present, I'm going to ask that we add item 12.2 regarding the Northern Illinois Health Insurance Program, or NIHIP. It's currently slated for 18.4, but instead of doing presentation and approval or voting on that, I'm going to split it up into 2 to allow our representatives to be with us and provide the information as item 12.2 under the Human Resources Committee. 18.4 will remain in place so that the board can vote on that. So that remains unchanged. So that's the mental gymnastics on the agenda
So at
that I'm
12.2.
proposing. So we're introducing 12.2 for NIHIP. But that's the reasoning behind keeping it split.
18.4, okay.
18.4 stays as is, but not
But
necessarily for discussion.
the first part of it, part A is
Part A.
going to be 12.2,
Correct,
but we will leave 18.4 as the vote.
correct. No, sorry for all the verbiage and the mental gymnastics, but
you're
that's
good.
the logic behind it. That's really what the change that I had to introduce. Does anybody else have anything else?
We do not have student board representatives tonight. Oh, we do.
Aha.
Uh-huh.
Good evening, everyone.
Perfect. Welcome, student board.
All right. That said, I think the only change is to do the 12.2 edition. Anything else? All right. With that, I move to adopt the agenda as presented with the addition of item 12.2 for Northern Illinois Health Insurance Program, or NIHIP.
Second.
Second for Mr. Ruth.
Nice job.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Superintendent's report. Excuse me, Mrs. Lomberg.
So, as the summer is quieter for many of you, out in the community, it is hopping and very bustling here in the district. And, I know a number of our cabinet members and directors will be talking about, the work that we are doing. We still have about a month to go, since school is a week later. But a lot of really, great movement here, whether it's with our hiring, a lot of the things preparing our buildings and our campuses ready to go, and then all of the things for the teaching and learning, kind of department there. So one of the things I did want to bring up, I know that, we've had some conversation about, just a variety of our goal areas in, each of our departments and how those, will be formulated. Parts of those will be part of our, strategic plan KPIs that we'll talk about in a moment. But one of them, has to do with some of our communication and, looking at, streamlining and having, the way some of our, district office, or district-wide community, committees work with our community and our buildings, and how we can streamline those with, what's happening in our buildings. And so one of those is that, we're looking at the Parent-Teacher Advisory Committee. We'll be looking at some of our other committees as well. But to ensure that we've got representation on a regular basis, as we know, a lot of times the meetings start out really strong with a lot of people, and for a variety of reasons, that attendance can dwindle a little bit. And with that, we're going to ask that our buildings have their own parent advisory committees for their teachers, that we have them select, and people can still apply and all of that, but that will have a representative specifically from each of those buildings on that committee, so that they can take back the conversations and bring feedback back and forth to our meetings. This is separate from our PTAs, but our time for our staff and the building administration and parents to come together. We're asking that they do that 3 times a year, start of the school year, midpoint, and end. They can have more, but they've got to at least have those advisory times. And to streamline that, I'm making a recommendation to also change we were supposed to have one the second week of August for our parent-teacher advisory, but to look at enhancing this process, making the recommendation that we then would take our parent-teacher advisory committee and mirror that 3 times a year, to have one in September, one in January, and then our end-of-the-year one as well. And so I would like to propose that we'll go ahead and make those changes and get that information out, work with the buildings and each of the school parent advisory organizations to, again, keep up and really get that two-way communication going back and forth, because there's a lot of great work that happens at the PTAC, and we want to make sure all of the parents are knowing of that and our staff at the buildings. And so we just, Mrs. Barr and I talked a lot about that and how we could do that and really strengthen that. And just wanted to check in with the board if you were okay with that, and then we'll go ahead and update those meeting dates and get that posted and out there, and then work with the buildings to get representatives. We will still allow for that application process where people can, if they want to be part of it, even if there's already a conflict representative, of course, we will take others. So it will not disclude any of our families who want to participate. All right.
So I have
Yes.
a question. So families would go to the PTAC meeting for their school?
So, an advisory, we would want at least one representative, so maybe it's a McCaven person that's going to those anyway, that we would want them also to, come to the district one, so that they could share some of the conversations that they're having from the larger pool at each of the buildings.
Okay,
Makes sense?
so potentially if
Yep.
if you were at McCabe and you were going to everything, you would then attend a total of 6 meetings, right?
Correct.
3 for your individual school, and then the 3 main meetings that we have here,
Correct,
which is community-wide.
correct.
Okay. Okay.
We know we're putting out, the minutes and they're giving the information. I think having that where it's in a smaller setting where they can come back and each person is kind of the liaison, more people will get that information, and more voices can be brought to, our committee as well.
I could see that, you know, as I'm thinking through it, where families may feel more comfortable sharing their concerns about the school or what's happening at their grade level
Mhm.
amongst their peers, for lack of a better word,
Yeah.
within their, and then not feeling so overwhelmed, well, I'm, you know, an elementary student and we're talking middle school and high school, or vice versa, because they could be very different ideas or challenges or suggestions and things that they have. So I could see that. Yeah,
We're
thank
gonna
you.
give it a try, and we're gonna hope that that enhances some of that communication. So the next part, we're gonna roll right on into our KPIs. As you recall, in June, we went ahead and gave an update on last year's KPIs. This is a draft right now, because we want to get your input on, the vision has already been set, right? We have our Huntley 2030. We've got our 5 priority areas of teaching and learning, student success, future readiness, community engagement, and fiscal stewardship. And under there, the Strategic Planning Guiding Committee had really come up with bulleted items that how can we continue to enhance the teaching and learning experiences here in Huntley 158. And we had 7 KPIs last year. And one of the things that we did with our cabinet, and then we did with our leadership from our directors here at district office, and we will then take this for our administrative kickoff week here, that first week in August, is to take a look at those 5 priorities that were developed by the committee, and looking at those bulleted items of what described where we wanted to go, and make sure that everybody understood those, because everybody remembered the KPIs. They're like, oh, we're working on this. But why are we working on it? What is that going to enhance? And Dr. Hoyo, right, we made it kind of like a heat map, where we looked at the work that we did last year for those KPIs. What did that touch on in those 5 priority areas? Where have we been doing really good work and we're moving forward? What haven't we touched yet? Where do we need to kind of go from there? And we really looked at that to help drive our next steps with the draft KPIs that you have here. And I wanted to go through those, and I may ask some of our cabinet members to jump in on some of them. Under teaching and learning, these are not in any priority of importance, but teaching and learning just happen to be at the top, is one of the things that we really want to do. We have this, but as we know, schools look different today. And we want to, when we think about the workplace, the portrait of the working environment, what are we doing when we're looking at onboarding our staff? Are we providing them all of the necessary information in the right avenues during the right time during the school year? But we can develop that, but we have talked this year that we really want to take our new employees this year and follow them through the process, kind of as a cohort, sitting down with them at various times during the school year to get their feedback on, as participants, they're a new employee. Are our new teacher days effective? Did we provide the right information at the beginning of the year? How is our mentor program? What does that look like? What do we need for you to be successful? And do we need to rethink about how we deliver it, who's delivering it, and when are we delivering it? So that first KPI is to evaluate and strengthen the district's new staff onboarding experience by gathering direct feedback from our participants, analyzing the effectiveness of our new staff orientation days and the mentoring program, and using those findings to enhance our onboarding practices for future employees. And we want to do that more than just teachers. We know that we will have new staff in every category, and to really get their experience as we follow them through that. Now, we're going to follow them all year long, but we are really going to follow them up through December to see how that works at the very beginning, so that we can take that feedback and start to begin to develop what changes we will make for the next year. We can analyze and tweak that as we go through the end of the year with them as well. But we will be giving you a report mid-year on those findings. Where have we been knocking it out of the park, and where do we need to enhance those opportunities? So that one really dovetails with our portrait of a working environment. Two of these that are under teaching and learning and student success and then going into future readiness. So Elle and I might have to take it away here. But one of those is by the end of the 26-27 school year, establish and begin to implement a district-wide continuous improvement process involving all stakeholder groups that will, one, regularly evaluate curriculum materials, instructional practices, and student outcomes to ensure engaging, accessible, and high-quality learning for every student. What is our system to evaluate a curriculum review, if you will? How are we doing instructional rounds or walkthroughs in our buildings? How are we intentionally collecting and taking that data to make data decisions that will enhance, is our curriculum working? What are our instructional practices? We've identified last year, if you recall, some of those high leverage instructional practices and putting those in place this year and collecting that data to see is it making a difference with student outcomes. And so we're really going to, again, we said all those stakeholder voices, and we would love to have our student board members part of some of that conversation too, to see how that's working. The next one is more your student success and future readiness. But as you know, we had in June, we had our curriculum workshop, or for some of you, you got a little course on that today. But by the end of the 26-27 school year, we'll expand the multi-year college career and life readiness framework that we developed as our KPI last year. And in that presentation, for the secondary, it then took the next 4 years and it developed what would be actions that we would do each school year for the next 4 years. So the KPI this year will implement the 26-27 initial launch actions identified by the pathway timeline. But at the elementary level, we need to conduct an audit of our pre-K 5 learning experiences, the foundational skill expectations, knowledge building experiences and exposure to topics and careers, and then plan. A plan will be brought to you all before the end of the year to address those gaps at the elementary level. So just a little bit behind where we are with secondary. So similar to what we did this year to develop that plan at the elementary level. Two things for our community engagement. One, we want to increase the family participation in school-based parent advisory meetings by 10% in the 26-27 school year. Just noticed I have an extra O, so I will correct that. Again, we want to increase all participation, but really felt that if we could get, figure out what is working and how we bring parents to the table at these advisories, make sure that we have representatives from CEAC, MPAC, across the board at these, that we think that that'll again enhance the two-way communication. And then we want to increase our alumni database by 20% during the 26-27 school year. We've got some really neat things that, I'll let you, I won't steal your thunder, it's in your report, but something new with that. But we know that as we talk about the college career and life readiness, we have a lot of alumni that have experiences that they can bring back to the district through the careers that they are in. And as we build that database, we know that we'll be able to, we know where they're at and we can get information out to them. I'll save the other part for you, Denise. And then we have two that fall under fiscal stewardship. One, by the spring of 2027, we will complete a comprehensive long-range facility and boundary plan. Please do not take away that means we have to do boundary changes, but we want to make sure that we're utilizing the Wold facility analysis that we did last year and our CASARTA demographic projections, as well as growth trends that we're seeing to ensure responsible resource allocations, balanced capacity, and sustainable learning environments for all students. So similar to, if you think about, Mr. Altmaier's 5-year, budget plan, when you look at, Mr. Lindquist, you look at your 10-year plan, for O&M kinds of things, it might change, based on things that happen, but we want to have a long-range plan similar to that when we're looking at our enrollment, our facilities, and depending on where neighborhoods are, do we need to make changes? We don't want to do that to the community haphazardly, and if it has to happen, we want to be planned ahead of time. So, looking at that, so utilizing some of the things, that we did last year and how we will put those into action. And then incorporating stakeholder, our community and staff as well, feedback, developing a long-range plan for or to solicit additional resources or funding for the district to present it to the Board of Education by February of 2027. This district KPI will prioritize student learning as well as operational efficiency. So looking at, again, as we're talking about I think we called it the financial roadshow, right, last time, we'll be gathering a lot of that information to be utilized in our report, our presentation about what are we hearing about priorities? Are they aligned with the priorities that we have as a district and you have as a board as we have to make some of these decisions down the road? So wanted to share these, get some feedback. Are there things that might be missing? What are your thoughts on these as you help set the vision of the board? And we will then again tweak them, all of that, and bring it back to August for a final adoption. So I'll open it up to all of you.
I think these look fantastic, and they're very comprehensive, touching on each of the, what are we calling these? Each of
5
the
priority areas?
5 priority areas. Perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
Just a quick concept question.
Sure.
Our summer school enrollment's going down a little bit this year. It might just be a blip, but I'm curious, would that fall under the student success study?
Yes, actually, we are doing, so there are a number of other items that we're doing. Mr. Ruth, we've seen the summer school numbers going down the last few years, and we want to really analyze that, trying to figure out why. Maybe that is just not what works for families anymore. Of the students there, how is that impacting their growth and their student achievement? So that will be part. We are looking at that with summer school, ECC. We identified a few different programs to make sure that those are comprehensive reviews.
I would agree, these are very thorough. I like how it does cover each of the 5 domains. A couple of questions. For the first one, the teaching and learning, I know we're looking at experience of the onboarding. I'm assuming in there is going to be like a metric for how many folks stayed with us. So if there was, a decline after, say, within 120 days of hire, is that a metric that would be kind of embedded in there too?
We absolutely can make sure that's part of that. Mr. Bobby, one of the things that you bring up with that, we also have the dashboard of all the continuous improvement things that we're doing. So for all of you, just a reminder, and anybody out there in the community or listening from the community, we still have the academic goals of, 3 to 5% increase in our literacy, our math. We have that retention rate. We've got the, finance ratings and all of those, the communication components. That dashboard is still there. We track all of those. We will be updating that once we get the school report card is released in October, and we will show those growths and needs. So that is all going to stay on the continuous improvement dashboard. Great question.
Okay. Yeah, I just asked because if you're getting feedback and they left because they didn't like us.
I want to know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
And then the second one, second question I had is for student success. Again, I realize this is now high level and there's elements that are sub-elements that feed into this related to student behavior, how they're performing from a behavior management perspective. That would be tied under the engaging, where it mentions the word engaging, student outcomes, or fall under student outcomes.
That absolutely could be data that would be looked at as we're looking at maybe, and we do that on a monthly basis with our assistant principals and our deans. We look at that quarterly with our behavior task force, but those, right, why? If we could get to the root cause of some of that, is it because of the curricular materials? Is it the instructional practices? Is it, what can we do? Executive functioning is going to be something you're gonna hear a lot about this year, with that, so.
Okay, so that will all feed into that KPI?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for incorporating the studies that we paid for into this KPI, so that we can utilize what we paid for and get some answers in that regard too. So, as a longtime facility person on the board, I appreciate that, taking a look at that, and also looking at boundaries. Not saying they're going to change, but just doing that evaluation to see is there tweaking that may or may not be necessary.
Right, I think that's important, because there are perceptions when you see some of the neighborhoods that have really grown. That's our Harmony Road campus, and what does that do, and how do we look at all of those developments and the enrollment and the projection and the space, so that we can make sure, one, we have accurate information and we're able to share accurate information with our community, so.
And dovetail that into the usage of our buses to make sure that the transportation is efficient as well.
Absolutely.
And that's not explicitly stated, but to me, that's one of my takeaways from this as well. And I echo the other board members' comments on this too.
Anything from Kevin about the process or the goals? Oh. You don't have to.
No, I just think that this year, we really just had a great opportunity to bring our directors together, and I just think Anna and I have a team of directors who are really excited to be brought into the process in a different way. I think we all had some aha moments that were really important this year, and we're just really excited about the work that is ahead of us. So, yes, I just wanted to acknowledge that because it was a really cool process this year. I have an update, so.
Thank you for your update. That's all I have. Lots more to come from these guys, and again in August. So we're not gonna rush everybody's summer for families and for staff, but we are really excited for August 19th to come.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Item 8, School Board Representative Olaf. Good afternoon, good evening. How's your summer?
It's been going quite well. Thank you.
Good.
So while I don't have a very specific presentation, I would like to touch on, Mr. Ruth, your point about summer school, and to Mrs. Lombard, your comments as well. From personal experience, as I haven't been able to get in touch with all of my peers who have participated in summer school, I would say that it really does help open up opportunities. I, for example, am able to take more classes that I would like to take by taking a U.S. history class over the summer. And I know that many of my peers did that for both their freshman year and this year as well. And it really helps to open up a lot more opportunities for different classes and to explore everything that the high school has to offer. And I think that maybe part of the reason that summer school participation has dipped could be because either students aren't aware of what they can truly get out of it, and whether that's something that could be tackled at the high school level, I'm unsure about.
Well, thank you for sharing that. We saw that across the board at elementary, middle, we didn't even have enough students to be able to have a summer school. And then at the high school, and high school is a little bit of a different summer school experience because they can take courses that maybe they needed to remediate, but we also have a number of courses where they can, we call them the get ahead, is what you're referring to open that. Olaf, I would love if you'd be willing to help facilitate with L&I and with high school some of those conversations to really see how is it? Is it the beginning of the summer? Is not as ideal? It's not the optimum time. Maybe it's the end of summer. Is it all of that? So if you'd be willing, and we'll ask Emma as well to help facilitate that conversation because there's two purposes for that summer school up at the high school level. So if we could gather that, if you're willing.
Of course.
Okay, item 9, I'll turn it over to Mr. Fecky. Dr. Hoy, welcome. And congratulations. Mr. Fecky, it's all yours.
All right, I will also welcome Dr. Hoyu and turn it over to you for your first, teaching and learning report.
All right, thank you so much. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Becky.
Sorry, learning and innovation report.
All right. I'm excited to share my first curriculum update this evening with all of you. And just a thought here that this memo, and thanks to Olaf too for getting a jump start on the memo this evening about summer school, but included in this memo are a summary of our grant submissions. Okay, really close.
Yeah.
A summary of our grant submissions, our consolidated school district plan was accepted, and we are excited about that. We are still awaiting final acceptance of our Title I, II, and IV grants there, but those are our anticipated totals. And then I also included a dual language update for our newest kindergarten class. We'll be running one class at Chapman. Some summer professional learning updates just about the learning that our teachers have been engaged in over the summer, both at the elementary and at the secondary level. And then, as you can see, there's a summer school update there. And Olaf, just in response to your comment that the high school students that were taking classes, the Get Ahead classes, was actually was a pretty high attendance rate. So I'd be interested in just hearing more from the students about that. And then a quick update about the Illinois School Report Card. That is not out yet and finalized, but it will be in October. We'll be coming back with some information about how we did each of our schools and as a district. But I just gave you kind of a nice visual about what are some of the items that get considered in that school report card. And then the very last part of this update is state reporting and some of the upcoming deadlines that we're working towards. Like Ms. Lombard said, it's busy in the summer here, getting all that in, working with, and I would like to say it's a collaborative process with technology and human resources and Ms. Lombard and Dr. Gill over here. So,
Pretty easy in, because it's more just updates rather than big
yeah,
presentations.
I know.
And I feel really bad that I didn't say it's your first one, because you've been here for so many years. It just feels like natural, but welcome. Thank you.
All right. Any questions for Dr. Hoyu?
I'm just curious, you made mention of some of the mandates that we're trying to review and change. Can you give me some enlightenment on that?
Sure, right. So we're waiting actually for a final updated mandate report. We're hoping that comes out in October, I think, with press policy. We're working with our ROE to take a look at those. They're trying to maybe not reduce, but consolidate some of those so that we don't have quite as many.
So, in the state, there are a lot of mandates, whether they're coming from with trainings, professional development, curricular courses, there could be financial components, and typically around this time of year or August, they'll update us with any new updates that we need to make sure that we are putting into policy or putting into our curricular studies at various grade levels. But one of the things that the State Board of Education had recently come and said they're really taking as a State Department, looking at those mandates, seeing which ones still should be in place, are they able to streamline some of those, maybe which ones are outdated, and a lot of those are unfunded mandates, and what does that impact? So just wanted to make sure, because a lot of times this time of year, we would bring any new updates that they're a little delayed in that because they have a committee looking through those. And I'm excited to hear that they're reviewing those mandates right now and determining which ones will continue and which ones maybe be streamlined or discontinued.
Thank you.
Well, Paul, I'm glad to see that they listened to us when we went to our advocacy day, really about streamlining, and taking a look at what mandates are obsolete or even covered in a new and updated mandate. So we're like doubling and tripling up on things where things are kind of irrelevant, or tracking whether or not some of the things that were implemented and mandated are even working. So it's nice to see that the committee is working on that, and I think if we have to hold back a little bit to wait on that information, I think we're going to be better for it in the long run.
Yeah, agreed. To me, any kind of progress that can happen on that front downstate, it doesn't just benefit us, it benefits all the districts in the state of Illinois. So yes, 100%. And I don't know if they're listening, but I strongly encourage them to keep plugging at it, because there's a whole lot of stuff like that that needs to be reviewed and deleted, adjusted, all of those words. And agreed, 100%.
Anything?
Yep, anything further?
Anything further? All right, thank you. Pass it over to Mr. Bobby and Special Education.
All right, item 10, Special Education Committee, Dr. Gill.
We don't have any updates, which is why I spoke earlier, just to say we're doing some great things. And it's been an exciting transition into this upcoming year, so no other updates. Only need to come.
You've been busy hiring, but Dr. Zara will highlight that.
Yes.
Any questions for Dr. Gill's new updates? No. All right, I'm going to pass this to Mr. Troy, Finance Committee.
Sure, I'll share this one. Is that okay, Mr. Root? You good with that?
Certainly.
Okay. Item 11.1, monthly fiscal updates. Mr. Altmeyer, turn it over to you anyway.
Yeah, thank you very much. We're also doing some great things over in fiscal, Dr. Gill, just to let you know. Yeah, a few updates within the fiscal memo that I do want to highlight. We continue to work with District 300 on bidding opportunities. So the latest and greatest, we're working with them on an ice melt bid. So in addition to the paper and the fuel bids that we kind of partnered on in the past, we're moving forward on the ice melt. So hoping to see some good results there, and we'll continue to keep the board apprised. That ice melt bid is currently being drafted, and I think it's going out in the next week. So we will keep the board apprised on that. There's several other items that I'll let you read throughout the fiscal memo. I did want to highlight the fact that the Huntley Athletics Department is doing a scheduling or a software scheduling update. Currently, we're with Arbiter, and we use Arbiter for two different things. We use them for scheduling of events, which is a major deal at the high school, you can imagine. Mm-hmm. And we also use Arbiter to pay our referees, and that's two separate fees, two separate programs. But where we're really struggling, where every school district, high school district, has been struggling this past year, is, well, with the scheduling side. And so in an effort to fix that, they found an integrated platform called Bound that kind of takes Arbiter, GoFan, the district web store, FMX, and other supplemental tools that we use over at the high school in the athletic department, all into one kind of scheduling software. And the beauty of this software, well, year one, actually, we pay Arbiter currently $2,500 a year for the service that we're getting, or the lack of service that we have been getting. And Bound is going to be less than that. It's going to be about $750 year one. There will be an uptick in year two, but that is still to be negotiated based on the services that we're using. But I think the reason we love it is there are so many different advantages over and above what Arbiter is currently providing. Number one, it's the consolidation of multiple platforms. It reduces, there's a lot of duplicative entries going on in the athletic department of people entering things into the tool, which will then go away. It's definitely a more user-friendly website that they have. And then lastly, and I love this one the best, they will have a huge opportunity because they have a crowdfunding platform. And within their crowdfunding platform, I saw everybody look up on that one, within their crowdfunding platform, the split is 92-8, 92% and 8%. So their take on that would only be 8%. So moving forward, once we get up and running, we will take a very hard look at that platform and maybe actually bring some dollars back to the programs and the kids that are doing the fundraising for their clubs and sports. So very much looking forward. The high school is in the process currently of working with Bound. but we certainly wanted to make the board and community aware of that new program.
Two things I believe are, part of that, in there, maybe in your memo, but registration, that, parents will go there, not only to register their student for the athletics or the activities, but they will actually pay the registration fees through there as well. And actually it has a slightly, better rate if they use a credit card than.
Correct.
Right, so they'll be utilizing that. And then the second component, is that they do have that, communication tool where, a coach or a sponsor can get information out, through, this platform, rather than via email, or we want them using district devices, right? They're able to do that. And I believe, when talking with, Ms. Kasten, that she then would be able to see, so any of the communication at any time as part of that platform. So, if they're sending out anything or there's feedback back and forth. So that communication, component, Mrs. Barr actually talked to and looked into that with her as well afterwards. And I think it has some really good potential across the board. It was a last minute, it's going to be a quick turnaround, but we will make sure from that customer service that, parents are aware of what to do. We'll work, through that. I believe we wanted to, share it with you here, but a communication will be going out then tomorrow. And then one of the things that we will be doing, is working with our middle schools. We would like to have all families utilizing the same. When we went to, well, actually it was our school, then bought out by Arbiter. It was previously 8 to 18, and we need to get all 3 of our schools doing the same. And so that will be a goal, to work through that. And I believe, Ms. Kasten has already, started to set up some meetings with the 2 middle schools to ensure that that happens down the road.
Thank you.
So that's that item. Thank you, Ms. Lombard. And then lastly, one item, for maybe a little guidance and discussion, regarding this boardroom and the video enhancements that we looked at. The technology team over the last few months, working with one of our current providers, asked to receive quotes on video enhancements of the boardroom, having 2 cameras, one camera facing somebody who comes up for public comment, or maybe a presenter, and another camera facing the board, whereby if somebody is talking, there's automatic kind of transition based on the person talking in the room. And those quotes came back, and they're both pretty expensive, and we did kind of pressure test those quotes with some other providers that we currently work with, such as CDW. The quotes that we received back were approximately $40,500 and $32,000. So a little pricey for what we're looking for. Certainly the other option that we currently have on the table is just to provide video enhancement and the quality of the video that we're currently providing. And we could do that kind of internally for a fraction of the dollars we're talking about. We would eliminate Zoom as part of the process and save $5,000 by eliminating Zoom, because this is one of the only reasons we use Zoom, is to stream these board meetings. We would do a direct stream directly to YouTube. And so we kind of have that process and plan laid out, but that would only involve one camera, kind of very similar to what we currently have today, with increased quality and sound at the same time.
I believe it also, was working in both of these where we could make sure our presentations were up as well as viewable by the community as we were doing presentations. So that was part of both of these options as well.
Correct. So we're looking for just a little bit of guidance here based on the dollars, based on the current budget situation we might be in, to see which way the board may want to move forward. Any thoughts or comments on that?
I think let's start with the committee.
Yeah. Sorry. No, this one, because it's a general board discussion, I'm not going to prioritize committee versus not. Have a comment. Right in.
You mentioned the camera facing the speaker, the board, but it also face the cabinet. You're giving your financial update year showed?
Correct. It would be a wide angle view facing the majority of us. I'm not sure if every single person on cabinet would be in on that picture, I would have to double check with the technology team to see the proximity of the camera.
Yeah, I think in one of the options, the majority of you would not have been in because it was going to kind of zoom in on whoever would be speaking, which would then pretty much block out all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to add, I think the impetus for this is really transparency with the community. Our equipment's out of date. It's hard to hear sometimes if you're a community member watching our board meeting. It's sometimes muffled. It's difficult to actually understand who is talking sometimes. You don't know which person is actually talking. It's hard to hear public comment. You don't get to see the person actually speaking because sometimes it might sound one way and you miss the nonverbal of that person as well. But ultimately, I think the impetus was, how are we transparent with the community? And so we're going to be having some difficult conversations in the years coming, specifically as it relates to our financials. I think now more than ever, it's important that the community can hear every word versus have to come to the meeting to actually listen to it firsthand.
I agree completely with Mr. Bowie. I feel like our current setup is definitely outdated, and it makes it difficult for community members who cannot be here in person to engage with the board meetings, whether they're watching them in real time online or after the fact recorded. And I just want to echo his point on there's some difficult conversations that we're going to need the community to be aware of that are potentially upcoming. And so I think that we really do need to look at upgrading the equipment in this room to support that transparency, to support that communication with the community. My question is, what is the difference in the two quotes? What does one give us versus the other one? Sounds like potentially some different camera angles, potentially. And then my second question is, it sounded like this was a current provider. I just wonder what other providers might be willing to look at this space and say, this is what we could do, or this is what we could offer.
Yeah, I think the difference really primarily in the two quotes, it's still kind of multi, one camera facing the lectern area, one camera facing the board area. Both options, obviously, trying to focus on the speaker. But the one that's a little more expensive would have microphones in the ceiling above where the board members are, so that if one of the microphones picks up, for instance, Mrs. Murray or versus Mr. Bobby speaking, it would be an automatic movement of the camera, whereas the other one is not automatic. It's more just wide angle. And the one at the lectern, same exact thing. The one that's the higher quote would have a microphone above the lectern area, versus if somebody comes up to the lectern, we would have to have a mat on the floor. And if they're stepping on that mat on the floor and speaking at the same time, it's a little less automated, a little less, it's not going to work as well, but it's the cheaper option. It's a little less automated.
I'm
So really,
afraid
the
I
whole
have-
configuration of microphones, the video,
Right.
To really get that system to work the way you want it is why there's two different options there.
I respect the fact that perhaps our existing system is muffled or not efficient. You mentioned an enhancement of the existing system. Would that solve that problem?
Well, the enhancement of the existing system would improve the sound quality and also improve the video quality, but it would still be the one wide view angle, right? I don't know if it would improve the video quality enough. I can bring this back to the board at a later date. If it would improve the video quality enough whereby you would actually absolutely definitively see which board member is speaking. I'm not sure it would do that or not from that distance away, but certainly the sound quality will be much better, the video quality will be better, and with that direct stream to YouTube, it will also include the video that if we have a presentation on board, that presentation will directly go to the community as well. So that will all be improved.
That would be the solution I would support. I mean, I don't think people need to look at my face so much as hear what's going on. So I think that money could be better spent elsewhere.
So what we can do if the board likes, we already talked about these two options. We could bring a little more information about the enhancement that could be on, right, so that you really understand all of the different options.
So to clarify, though, you said that enhancement does not include sharing presentations.
It does.
No, it does.
It does, okay.
Yeah, so today, obviously, if there's a presentation, the community cannot see that presentation, but moving forward with the enhancement, they will be able to see that.
Mr. Altmeyer, I'd like to ask, I'm one board member, but I'd like to ask for three things related to
Sure.
this topic. I'd like to receive some more information on the quotes that were received. I'd like to see a quote for enhancing our existing equipment in the existing setup. And then the third thing is I'd like to see a quote from another company that the district does not currently work with.
For all three
No,
options, or just another quote?
just another quote for look at this space
Oh, sure.
and say, what could we potentially do? It doesn't have to be a non-district
and
partner, but
we-
just
yeah.
someone else.
We have those first two requests. We have those very detailed quotes on these two options presented. So
Right.
I didn't want to include that as part of this overall package. We also have a quote on enhancing and what that would look like, so we could provide that as well. And so we'll work on pulling together a third quote to have somebody else come in and take a look at it and see what they would recommend. And we'll bring that back at a later date.
I think from my perspective, I think that's the fair amount of information for the board to make a decision. I don't know if anyone else feels differently.
So what I'm curious about, and getting into the weeds a little bit, when this information went out or seeking this, was this a perspective, here's what we'd like, give us a quote, or is this come in and advise us on alternatives and then give us what those alternatives would cost? It's a matter of which way did this get built, from our requirements, or
Go ahead.
here, we're giving you the flexibility to take a look at this and then come back to us with a recommendation based on your expertise.
Yeah, so, based on our conversation, I talked with Mr. Primus, saying here were some of the concerns, here were some of the sound, obviously, he was aware of.
Sure.
So when we talked about wanting that transparency, wanting the, ability to be able to have our presentations screened, to hear the sound, the double camera, all of those things, I believe he took those and provided that to them as, what can we do to do this? So giving them, I would assume the two that we got was also, hey, you probably want to think about this or that as well, but it wasn't come into the room and what would you do kind of a model.
Correct. And I do want to clarify, we did reach out to other vendors and just big picture talk through what we were looking for. And big picture received numbers very similar to the numbers we're looking at. Did we receive a detailed quote? No, but we did talk numbers. CDW would be one of those companies, but we can still, if you like, we can still reach out to a non-district service associate vendor for an additional quote if that's what the board chooses.
Well, what about, I got a question. What about, have you looked at, I watched a board meeting through District 365, Bolingbrook, Romeoville. They had a fantastic whole system going on. What do they have? I mean, that would be worth a call. I don't know what other ones, but I saw that and I was like, wow, that was really, and you got to see, I think it's very important to see all the recognitions. I think that's wonderful to see those students' faces, and, because you don't see any of those. We get to see them. So, I mean, not that that's the only reason, but that's a big reason. So.
And I'd agree with Mrs. Murray. It's just, I know, Mr. Almar, you have friends in other districts. District 300 has a very similar system. Naperville has a similar system, like what we're talking about. I'm curious what they paid, since they're already using that type of system.
And see what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
All right, we'll come back on, we can actually then, maybe invite Mr. Primus to help be able to answer some of the nuanced questions that either Mr. Altmeyer and I might not have the expertise in, but we'll look at that, and we can look at some of our,
colleagues and see what they're doing.
Thank you.
One other thing, I noticed on here is the account payable report, and we're still chugging through all of those, challenges, right?
Correct, we are still, yeah, and a lot of those were corrected and fixed, but we're continuing to work with, Skyward to kind of streamline these reports a little bit. They're a little longer than I would like. They provide a little more detail and they take them more of the page, so to speak. Our old reports were one line for every vendor. So we're continuing to work with them the best we can to see if we can streamline these reports. We continue to tweak them each month.
Thank you. That's the last of it, unless there's a fiscal update question.
I just real quick want to go back to the update and just kind of highlight that the impact fee was received. I saw that on there. I didn't hear that it was said earlier.
Yeah, I didn't, right, I didn't provide that as an update, but it is part of the
It's on there,
report,
just know, for anybody that's listening that may not be looking at the reports and whatever, that, I think it's important to, highlight that, that has been received.
Okay.
And then, hold on one second. It's going, hold on. Oh, wait, no, different place on the agenda. Sorry. Okay, moving forward.
If there's nothing else, item 11.2, revenue expenditures.
Thank you very much. You're looking at the 11-month ended May 2026 financial executive summary. Unfortunately, we continue to trend in the operating deficit position primarily as a result of health insurance. What you're looking at, though, is obviously sitting at $2.1 million deficit through the 11 months ended, which again is primarily driven by the health insurance, as well as the lack of federal revenues, the shortfall of revenue simply because of reimbursements. And Medicaid and things of that nature that we've yet to recognize by year end. A lot of those are entries that we make in the final months of the year when we submit for reimbursement on the IDEA grant and when we make entries related to the cost settlement for Medicaid and things of those nature. So nothing really new to provide. You can see that for the month of May 26th, we had $1.2 million in claims, down from $2.5 million in April. As a reminder, the April claims included back claims from January and February that were not billed by Blue Cross Blue Shield. So we will be happy in a later update here very shortly to talk about what we're doing about health insurance. So, and then on the dashboard, obviously, we see a lot of red on the revenue side. Typically, a lot of that is timing when it comes to Medicaid and things of that nature. Interest earnings are still very much lagging due to the downturn in investment rates. And on the expense side, there's really nothing unusual there. There is a slight uptick with legal fees, so I did want to point that out to the board. We did surpass the budget of $100,000, and we'll continue to look in that and set a goal for next year to continue to reduce that line item. We have reduced that line item over the last several years, and we'll continue to focus on that. We've already had conversations internally on that line item, so did want to bring the board up to speed on those items. And let you know where we're trending for the 11 months ended May 2026.
Okay, Mr. Ruth, committee, any questions?
Just curious if there's any update on the Blues audit.
I'm sorry, say again, Mr. Ruth,
Yeah.
sorry, I almost called you Dr. Ruth.
We had a,
Somebody else there is a doctor.
a potential Blues audit, Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Oh, Blue Cross Blue Shield audit. Yeah, with everything that we're currently going through with our health insurance committee, that is something that would be discussed at our health insurance committee with that team. And then also internally, we have not had that discussion internally with the health insurance committee. So, we do have that on our radar, as we had talked about the last meeting, and we'll continue to focus on that moving forward.
Happy birthday.
And we'll have to maybe talk to the Gallagher folks about how we can retro do that with prior year claims. So I'm sure they know a little bit about that. So sorry about that.
Any other questions for revenue and expenditures? 11.3 is
Oh, I
next.
have a question. I didn't know you.
Oh, go ahead.
My question is on the P card number, that looks really high for the month of May.
So is this the executive summary report, or is this, the accounts payable report?
I'm on page 2 of the revenue and expenditure report.
Oh, got it, okay, yeah.
I guess I'd just like some more information about, how many, you don't have to provide it right now, but maybe at a future meeting, how many staff members have P cards? What are they using them for?
Yeah, I can answer some of that right now. When I came to the district a long time ago, the district had a lot of P cards, 40, 50 plus P cards. And we cut that down to every building, and then had one P card, every principal had one P card. And then the directors, the cabinet level directors had P cards. So we actually got P cards down to about 12 to 15 P cards at that time. And I think today we're floating at about 20 P cards. So the majority of our directors, the people that oversee departments such as special services, right, operations and maintenance, HR, fiscal, all of our buildings, right? We have the light program as well. So those are the P cards that we have today. Very limited on a per building, per department basis. That number has historically actually gone up a little bit, and online purchasing has become a very good way to actually save a lot of money, right, with Amazon, so that's not a surprise. We used to see a daily, or I should say monthly P card purchase amount trending around $80,000 or $90,000. That has been a little bit on the uptick.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the uptick now in the months of definitely in the later months of the year, simply because buildings are starting to replenish things. Sometimes they're starting to replenish things for next year because we have 11-month employees and buildings are kind of wrapping up and also winding down and preparing for next year. So that's not surprising to me that we would see an uptick in P card transactions. We also see an uptick in P card transactions because of things happening at the end of the school year, whether it's with staff, whether it's with students, whether it's with clubs and athletics. We do at various times of the year see an uptick in P card transactions.
I guess my general question would be, in the quote invoice purchase order process, there's a lot of oversight into what is being purchased, and I'm not talking about from the board level, I'm talking about from your level and your department,
Sure.
Who the vendor is, things like that. The P card, there sometimes is not a lot of oversight.
Well, we have a very robust purchase order process so that if people are using the P card, right, knowing that, for instance, I have a P card, knowing that Mrs. Lombard has a P card, each principal has a P card, each building has a pretty fairly robust process. I'm saying they know what charges are going on that card, and when charges do go on that card, those principals, those directors are signing off on each and or approving every single item that is on the P card before it gets paid.
Okay.
That is part of the process. So we ensure that every single thing is looked at and approved before we pay essentially the amount.
Okay, thank you.
One of the things too, right, like, so each of my direct reports, right, they have to turn that in, and they know each month I am gonna have some questions, like, what was this to Amazon for, or those kinds of things. So those conversations should be had as well to ensure where does it tie and how is it going to improve? What are those priorities that we've identified as the district and our goals? So we can, and we'll be having our administrative kickoff and our meetings with all of the buildings and the front office staff that help manage those budgets, to have those continued conversations to ensure, because you're not wrong, it is easier to use a P card than it is a PO. And we want to make sure that we are using those for the right things and all of that.
Thank you.
Do we have, I thought we had line items of like Amazon accounts. Do we still have those? Or do you just do them on credit cards or both?
I guess
Since
I'm
you brought
confused
up-
by the question. We do have a corporate organization Amazon account.
I thought that was in the ASA report, we see Amazon accounts.
Yes, correct.
But you're saying you brought up Amazon on a P card?
Well, we don't have an Amazon direct bill to Amazon. Everything is still billed on a P card through Amazon. So even though we have a corporate Amazon account, Amazon only accepts credit card payments from the district. Does that make sense?
Most accounts, right? I mean, that's how I pay.
Well, yeah, correct, but we have one account,
But I'm just saying, if there's a line item on an ASA report for Amazon,
yes.
and that's X amount of dollars. But you're saying there's
Yeah.
X amount of dollars for Amazon on a BMO card too.
Well, no, the reason it's on the ASA, the Annual Statement of Affairs Report, is because we personally break that out. So historically, in the past, we would just have BMO P card on the ASA. Several years ago, we said, okay, we're gonna provide more information and break out those P card charges, and so that's why you now see it on the ASA. Because we break it out. So it's not like it's on the P card and on Amazon.
I'm
No.
just saying, if you have an account with Amazon, wouldn't you just do all your purchases that way?
You can, but they don't accept check. So we pay them with a credit card. Everything gets billed on the credit card. On the ASA, we bill out all major vendors that we pay through BMO on the credit card. That make sense? I think.
So do we need a line item for Amazon then?
You mean on the executive summary
Well,
report?
no, but I mean, just in general on the ASA report. I saw a couple, so I just didn't know. I was just asking, just for my.
No, well, I think we break it out as best as we can based on the details that we get from BMO on all the vendors that we pay. So based on the detail that we get from BMO on all the vendors we pay, we try to break out those vendors and put them on the ASA where they belong based on the dollar amount of those charges.
Because what you're saying is it doesn't matter if it's paid by check or, P card,
Or P
everything
card.
goes back
We
to
try to, yeah, we try to give
an
the
account number, and the account number is what appears on the ASA,
well, no, it's not the account number, it's the vendor.
or the vendor, right?
The vendor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
We
Amazon,
have a list of all of our own internal vendors that we pay
Sure.
with, by check. And that's easy to put on the ASA. And then we have BMO, $1.5 million as an example, okay? On an annual basis, when we do the ASA, we break out that $1.5 million to the best we can based on the detail we get from BMO on all those vendors. But you have to recognize and realize that a lot of those vendors show up as, Amazon might be listed 15 different ways. And we do the best we can to consolidate all of those Amazon charges into one Amazon line item. So if you see, yes, so if you see ASA on there, or Amazon on the ASA multiple times, it's probably because it was given to us in so many different ways. We try to break it out the best we can. There's hundreds of vendors that we have to consolidate. And it's not as simple as a VLOOKUP, Excel magic, if you will, to consolidate, pivot table. You can't do a pivot table, you can't do VLOOKUP. It's very difficult to consolidate, so we do the best we can.
is there a threshold for dollar amount that's spent, through BMO, that dictates whether it's pulled off of being reported on the ASA from BMO Harris to whether it's Amazon or XYZ company? Is there a threshold cumulatively as you look through the year?
No, there really isn't a magic threshold.
Or is
we use.
Amazon the only one that we kind of do that with, because you know?
No, we break out, there's a lot of vendors that we break out. Yeah, on the ASA out of the P card. I don't have all of that information handy in front of me.
But the P cards do have a limit, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, every single building has a credit card limit.
Yeah.
And my limit, or Mrs. Lombard's limit, is very different than a elementary building versus the high school versus the athletic department versus the operations and maintenance department. So we have controls in place on our P cards.
They have a limit, and they also have a limit per transaction too. So if it was above a certain threshold, they have to have finance,
And
permission for that.
permission, right, as well. So I see a lot of P card transactions come through where P card transactions, they have to request my approval for large P card transactions. So I'm aware, so fiscal is aware of those transactions coming through. And when they come through on the payable side, my payables team ensures that my approval email is attached. I mean, so we do have systems in place on the P card.
My brain is just kind of spinning as we're, like talking through this, so I'm thinking about the ASA, so when BMO Harris is listed on there, that number, in theory, could be understated from the total checks that are paid to them, correct? If we're breaking out, or are we double, if
If
you're
we pay
listing Amazon and BMO, then you're almost either overstating,
You're
double
not
stating.
paying BMO. BMO is credit card, the same way that you have one at home. But when you have one at home, you could pay Amazon, you could pay Google, you could pay any number of vendors. So they're breaking it out by vendor, not necessarily by BMO.
But
Correct.
BMO
That's
is
the
listed on the
breakout.
ASA, aren't they?
They're still listed probably for everything else that's grouped together that we couldn't break out, or was below a threshold.
So that's what I'm saying is there would, if we were to total all the checks that were written in the fiscal year to BMO Harris, that number might not match what is stated on the ASA because it's that number plus whatever's been
Well-
broken out.
Well, correct, absolutely,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
right.
that's,
But we figure it's more useful to the community and internally so that people know where we're spending our dollars,
correct.
right? There's no other reason we would pay BMO except for, we use BMO obviously for our banking. So there might be some ancillary charges for banking fees and things of that nature, but,
Right.
the majority of it is the P card.
I'm just glad to hear that we have oversight in the P card charges. That was the sole purpose of my question, so thank you.
And that was scrutinized many years ago for
Right.
internal fiscal controls. So I'm glad to see that that continues, but obviously those controls were put in place effectively, in my eyes.
And those are
11,
part of administrative procedures, right?
Yeah.
And that's listed on there for you, okay.
11.3, food services menu software.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we talked about this at the last meeting, on the operational efficiency KPI. I promised that we'd bring back a little more information. Obviously, the background and rationale behind, this switch to the food services menu software is twofold. It's an operational efficiency, but at the same time, addressing a significant need that we have internally, to provide better analysis, nutritional analysis, whether it's to families at home with kiddos that may have allergies, to our nurses that are managing dietary restrictions. So for a lot of different reasons, right, this will enhance and boost our menus moving forward. We currently last year, we used LINQ, L-I-N-Q. And if you remember, our SDS financial system was also LINQ, right? A very inflexible kind of system, and their customer service the last several years has kind of fallen apart. And we've been struggling a little bit with that system internally, and reaching out to a lot of other school districts. They were using Healthy Pro system, right? A USDA-approved meal pattern assessment software that's audit ready. So as soon as we enter things into the system, we know if we're meeting the National School Lunch Guidelines on nutritional analysis on a per meal basis. So it's a pretty slick system. It's going to definitely save us some time when we're building the menus, building by building. Also going to provide a lot of visibility to our community, to our students, to our parents, to our nurses, and to our staff, so that they can see exactly what is in the meals that we're serving, and understanding the nutritional as well as any maybe allergic dietary restrictions. So I provided you a lot of different handouts as part of the Healthy Pro system. We're currently working with them to get up and running. I was hoping to actually provide you a little glimpse into what it's going to look like, but that system is still being built, but should be built in the next several weeks here. So I just wanted to bring this to the board. One of the biggest benefits, we talked about this when we talked last month, although this system is a little more costly moving forward, because we're using this USDA-approved meal pattern assessment software, it makes us eligible for an additional 9 cents for every meal we serve, and serving 454,000 type A meals last year. That equates to over $40,000 a year in additional national school lunch reimbursement. So from an operational efficiency standpoint, that's going to bring in an extra $27,000 to $30,000 next year on that line item. So very positive news on that front as well. So just wanted to share that and provide that to the board so you had a little more information. We're going to be working with communications here in the next several weeks as that system is built, so that our families are well aware of this new system moving forward. So got some good things going on at the high school. We also have some good things going on in food services as well.
All right, any questions from the committee? Mr. Ruth, I don't have any questions.
No.
All right, any questions from the board? board in general.
More of a comment, it's exciting to see that they have a mobile app too, for families.
Yeah.
To just be able to quickly get to the menu.
Yeah, what's on the menu?
Yeah, perfect.
Do I need to worry about anything? Right, for sure.
And that was something we definitely heard from families, at the beginning of the year, something that is going to be a tool for them to be able to work, with for their individual student needs. It's gonna be excellent.
All right, with that, item 12, Mr. Ruth.
Thank you. I'd like to, ask Dr. Zier to give us a kind of a general update, but also introduce Gallagher Insurance.
Yeah, so just hiring updates in human resources. I'm actually having a pretty good season, but we've still got a handful of positions, even a month out that we need to fill. Still battling with those difficult to fill positions, special education, just like any surrounding school district, finding folks, quality folks that are endorsed in that area and can teach those classrooms for us. Everyone seems to be looking at the same people right now. So that has become very competitive. And then, the most difficult to fill position out there right now for schools are psychologists. It has been for years, so we are taking a different approach this year for a plan to help fill our positions for 27, 28. And we're going to welcome on 3 interns, paid interns this year. So the first time we've done paid internships in this district. Districts are allowed to pay student teachers. We are not doing that, and we decided to focus on this. So we're going to have 3, one at each campus, so they get experience at the secondary and elementary level, and in the hopes they come and they see our climate culture. They want to stay so they can help us fill those vacancies. We do keep those jobs posted. You never know, maybe moving back to the area or something could fall in our favor. But just like with any district, definitely the toughest to fill position in district right now. The general update on where we're at with hiring. So we're doing pretty good.
Any questions? You want to take over with Gallagher?
Yeah, so we'll shift gears. Gallagher's here tonight in case we need to phone a friend. We'll call them up, but we have been working through some health insurance options here. Actually, Mr. Altmeyer and myself have been, working with Gallagher probably over a year and a half now. We've had some initial presentations from them. So as you know, we're a self-insured district, and we've been like that for years, and that has played to our advantage for years. Well, that tide has turned. As you know, monthly we see those updates come from Mr. Altmeyer, where we see that uptick, and so we've looked at some different options to help with those costs, and NIHIP is one of them. And we've met with our health insurance committee twice this summer, where NIHIP has come, and we're probably up to 4 or 5 hours together at this point, looking over the program. And so the health insurance committee is through the HCA contract. They bring recommendations to the board. So the representation there, we have administrators, we have HCA representation, and we have HESPA representation, and we have some representation here, and then also Mr. Troy is president of those meetings also. So this would be a big pivot for the district as compared to where we sit now as self-insured. But we're going to walk through some of the highlights from their presentation that they brought to the committee, and just some of the things that can be brought to the table, and some projected savings also that could come to the district by joining the co-op. So under the executive summary, I just have an overview there of what the health insurance committee, when we spent some time, and the idea of NIHIP coming on board, being this large co-op with 41 member districts. And we have some neighboring districts also that are involved with this. We've got 155 who just joined, Burlington 301, Barrington 220, and I feel it's put on here. I know McHenry is in the co-op also. So we've been able to talk to some of these districts before even engaging with Gallagher, just to get their feel on it. And the vibe coming from those districts, especially 155 being a new member, has been positive for them. Some of the districts that have been in them for a while, that's what they know. So they have had a good experience there. So essentially, you're bringing together the masses to help absorb some of the costs that we have. So how the model works here, like I said, a high level here, what it looks like. The large group purchasing power with pooling over the 40 districts. the risk sharing, with greater predictability, budgeting predictability, and then I put some historical numbers in there that NIHIP shared with us over their, 15-year average renewal in terms of percentages, with the PPOs, HMO, and then the dental. I want to go back to that budgeting predictability a little bit, and let me know if I'm stepping on finance toes or if I misspeak here, but what this is going to allow, we're going to be able to predict out, that monthly cost a little bit better. So when claims come in, how we work now, we see that ebb and flow, more of the peaks that we're seeing. So we see that different numbers. So Mr. Altmeyer is going to be able to budget with a more consistent number, and with the finance situation that we're looking at in the future, that is one of the bonuses here, that we're going to know what that number is going to be, for the preceding 12 or the 12 months moving forward. So that was something that was big here. Some of the proposal highlights down here, the projected financial savings through medical and pharmacy. We're looking at about $2.5 million in savings by going over to the co-op. One of the big topics of the Health Insurance Committee, and also what we've been bringing here, is the GLP-1 impact. We know that is driving up a lot of our costs. So NIHIP, as a co-op, they cover GLP-1s for weight loss, but to help curb that, Vita Health is something that folks would have to go through. So they'd have to be a part of this, and then a Vita Health doctor would be prescribing that GLP-1. Kind of the world we're living in right now. Mr. Altmeyer, best to describe it as the GLP-1 Wild Wild West for us right now. The uptick has been significant and been very costly to us. So there's a process that they would have to follow in order to be able to be prescribed that drug as they move forward. So if it's good for the employee, that drug's obviously still going to be available, but they're also, we make sure that they're involved in some sort of, process that brings health along with the prescribed drug. And just a little bit more on the GLP-1 about being grandfathered in with the services, and then Vita Health being the sole gatekeeper. Some other benefits and extra value we've got here. As we know, we're with Blue Cross Blue Shield. NIHIP would also be with Blue Cross Blue Shield. For the medical network would remain unchanged. We are switching dental. They're still out in the market right now for the dental. They're going to bring some proposals to us to look at that. But we are with Aetna right now, and it has not gone well for us the first 6 months in from an employee standpoint. We've had some folks that are out of network incurring some expenses they hadn't incurred in the past, and we weren't quite ready for that. And so we've had some major complaints in that dental area, so we'll be making a pivot on that. Vision, we'll be able to stay with our VFP platform. Life and AD&D, we would be switching over to Voya, where we have some significantly better rates that would come through life insurance, and some other enhancements. Being self-insured, we need to go out and get an online platform to do open enrollment. So we use a company called Benefit Focus right now. So we have to go out, do that on our own. They do our open enrollment, ACA, they do our COBRA administration. We also go out and we do our EAP services on our own. And we also do our wellness screenings on our own. So as part of NIHIP, this is all part of that co-op. So we would go to a new benefits platform called Benefit Solver, which we're used to switching platforms, which is totally fine, but that is part of the co-op. So everyone in the co-op uses that platform. Our EAP services would also be a part of the co-op, so we'd be saving on that end. And EAP services are actually, they are using the same company. NIHIP uses the same company that we contract out to. And then the wellness screenings that we do through Northwestern, that has been fantastic for us. But they would be bringing on the wellness screenings, and that would be part of it too. That's about a $75,000 per year cost of the district. So we're looking at about $144,000 savings just with those enhancement products that we have to get off on the side right now. It would be part of what's included with the co-op. All right. That was 50,000 feet for Altmeyer. We want to bring them a little closer or was anything I may have missed?
No, I
On the
think,
financial side?
no, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think there's a lot of, ancillary savings that, $150,000 over and above the $2.5 million, estimated $2.5 million, that NIHIP, and the co-ops can bring to the table. Definitely budget consistency down the road. FY '27 would include 6 years of what we're currently, right, in our current program, and 6 months in our current program, and then 6 months in the NIHIP premium-based program for FY '27, and then moving forward after FY '27, we'd have very, very consistent budgeting practice moving forward. I think one of the things I like the best about it, other than the savings, because the savings are really good, and the budget stability, would be that there's 41 districts, 41 districts in the co-op, right? And you're working with 41 districts to provide the absolute best solution you can to each and every district, right? So we have a group of 41 districts looking to do the best they can for its members, while at the same time, right, trying to save resources, trying to do the right things to minimize expense and bring resources back to the district. So that is a huge opportunity that we all have to kind of work together as a system rather than working as a silo on our own. So I think that's one of the big advantages of being with the co-op as well. So looking very much forward to
And I
it.
do want to mention something about the co-op. So they have what we'll call a portfolio, I believe your words, of plans to choose from. There's about 30 plans. So right now, we got one plan. We need to look at the HMO. They're going to bring back, if you do move forward with this, they're going to bring back some different ideas for our HMO. But our current plans, we would have for 2027. So we would move those plans over, so we wouldn't see a change there. But then the Health Insurance Committee is going to have to look at that portfolio and choose the proper plans as we move forward. And I said this in the meeting, and we talked about, for those of you who've been in negotiations before, with HCA or HESP, it's all about comparables. This co-op helps us to have comparables to look at in health insurance. So that's been very difficult to do in the past. And our biggest comparable last time for HCA was District 301. That was the district, we looked at with salary schedule and everything. So being able to look at these other districts to see, what they're doing in terms of language, what they're covering, what plans they have, I think will be very important. And, talking, with the union president, Mr. Aney, he was there for this, not a voting member of the team, but he was there to hear the information and, in agreement. When we negotiate right now, it's tough to go grab that comparable, with health insurance because our plans just look a little bit different because we're not in the co-op. So, still have some recommendations for that, but I also think that gives that committee, a little bit more say in, what plans are going to be offered in the future. Mr. Choi, did you have anything? I know you were present for these presentations.
I was, I was pleased with this. It's welcoming this change. As you said, as Mr. Altmeyer said, not just in this meeting, but previous meetings, this allows us to kind of reset how we do health insurance because of how we've done it for so long in the past. I was kind of curious how long we have been doing self-insurance, and I figure it's easily over 20 years, maybe even more than that, but I couldn't even put a number on how long we've been doing self-insurance route. It's that long, but I couldn't answer the question. But, yeah.
It's been at least 20. I think, when I first started, it may not have been, but at least 20.
Right. Anyway, again, this allows us to rethink how this approach is going to be taken, and doing something to provide some savings to our district, overall, and that's very valuable.
Dr. Zare, I don't know if you mentioned this. If you did, I apologize. This year, obviously, open enrollment normal, then the year after, so the FY '28, there would be 2 open enrollments, right? We would do.
Yeah, so the timeline on switching over, we have, right now, our rates take effect January 1st. So we would be making a transition over the next couple of years. The NIHIP, new plans and rates take effect on September 1st. They do open enrollment in spring, which is nice for my office, because we do open enrollment in November and have to have everything turned around by January 1. Sounds like a lot of time, but when you throw winter break in there, you throw Thanksgiving break in there, the amount of days we have to actually work on it. So, that would take place in the spring, but we got to transition to that. You got to provide an open enrollment once every 365 days, I believe. So we'll have a double open enrollment. We've done that before in the past.
And then, you talked about some of those other services, employee assistance program, like that's gonna be a fluid because it's the same. The wellness, we would continue this fall with, what we're currently
So
doing.
this fall, we're already connected to Northwestern, so we would continue to do that. We move forward with NIHIP, we would move, to their program, and they did have a little enhancement there that we gotta talk about the logistics of this. Our current, health screening are the employees only. So it's only our employees that get to do that because the district's paying for it, $110 per screening, I believe where we're at right now. NIHIP allows the spouse to also screen. But we need to work out some logistics with that in terms of, we got some logistics. So that's kind of a bonus too, that, the spouse is part of that. They are not right now, so, whether we want, we gotta work some logistics out on that, in terms of safety and security.
Thank you to all those that have been part of this, from all the committee members and all the people that came to the meetings over the summer here twice, to work out the logistics to answer the good, ask the good questions and seek out good answers. Thank you to all the people that did this process. Any questions from the board members?
Only a comment, Mr. Troy allowed me to sit in one of the meetings and, done a little bit of this in the past. But I concur that it's a great move for the district and good, long ago. Congratulations. I presume these young men are our new contacts. The lady Pat, retired, is that correct?
Yeah, these are gentlemen that are guiding us through this, with Adam and Nick, yeah.
Welcome.
And thank you for sitting here as long as you have quietly. Appreciate that.
I had a question. I agree, this is thinking outside the box and really creative. The question I had is, I know this would create the purchasing power with the 41 districts part of this. Does that mean everyone needs to be on the same plan? Or is there, each district can have their individualized plans based on their employees' needs?
Yeah, so based out of that 30-plan portfolio, the district, essentially, can choose what those plans are. When we go to make that shift, we'll probably try to mirror, the plans won't be as rich as they are now, would be my assumption. We're looking at a couple of our plans. We're close.
They're not
If you want to come up to the mic here, that button, there'll be a button under that mic, it'll turn you green. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Nick Rematic, Area Senior Vice President of Gallagher, lead consultant for the NIHIP Cooperative. Yes, to answer your question, when we do the analysis, we tend to look at baseline, what the most comparable plans are to your current plan. Use that as a baseline. We looked at Huntley's plans in comparison to what is currently offered in the portfolio. There were some benefit plans, particularly the PPO plan, the lowest deductible, that it is below the minimum deductibles in the portfolio, so there would be an deductible for that plan. The other plans are very similar in how they match up with the current portfolio.
All right, thank you. Yeah, it was more a question which you answered around individualization. So even though we're part of this, doesn't mean we get the same plan as the other 40 districts. It sounds like we'd be able to individualize it to our district.
Correct.
So you answered that. Thank you, appreciate it.
To a certain degree, because that's something that's within the portfolio of offerings, right? That is correct. Yeah, like right now, we could design our plan in its current state any way that we want, because we're the only ones in this arena limited to what's in that portfolio. And it's not a matter of, you get a certain latitude in self-design by picking from that, but it's not the carte blanche that we've had for
Do we have a board representative representative picked for the committee, for NIMED board?
So NICA has an executive board, and then the districts are voting members on topics. We do not have anyone that is on that executive board. I'm sure we have someone that wants to be on that executive board, though.
It's a requirement that each member district has a delegate, a primary delegate, a secondary delegate to the board, and all 41 current districts have a representative, and they have one vote each. Matters related to benefits and cooperative.
Mr. Altmeyer, you ready to take that job on? Thank you. Are there any other questions?
That'd be a yes. I think Gallagher knows that already.
Very well, we'll turn it over to, Mr. Murray.
Thanks, gentlemen. Thank you.
I'll turn it over to Ms. Barr.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. So, summer has provided the communications department time to look at what last year we did, the things we accomplished, and where we need to go this year. So while lots of great things happened last year, one of the things we did was a communications survey amongst parents to try to gauge where we're, how we're doing. And so I looked at that feedback, and then met individually with all the principals to just talk over how they feel communication is going, what their parents are saying, and what the survey results are saying, and how can we do better. So one of the big things that isn't a surprise probably to anybody is that parents feel overwhelmed by communication. Part of it is we've got so many different ways to communicate, and part of it is that they're receiving communication from teachers, from buildings, and from district, and from coaches, and from all sorts of people. So one of the things we're going to try this year is taking a more streamlined approach with our newsletters. I created new templates for the schools and for the district so that the information will appear in the same order all the time. There's been quite, as I went back and looked at everybody, the newsletters, they're great, but they varied so much. And so I think this might help parents more quickly find the information they're looking for. The platform that we use some more is an accessible platform, which is great. It's translatable. It also provides a table of contents, for example, where you can skip to different sections as quickly as you can. So what we know is that we don't have parents' attention very long, and we have to continue to try to find ways to get them the information as quickly as possible. So I'm hoping that will be well received. It'll also add some enhanced branding. We'll have consistency to the look and feel across the district with those communications. This coming Sunday, we'll send out the district staff newsletter and also the parent newsletter, and that will be in that same template, which isn't dramatically different, but a little bit. So the categories are all the same. We did add a new homeschool connection category this year that we're excited about as a way to help parents understand what we're doing here at school, and for us to help kind of understand them, and hope that will help them support their child's learning at home. So those are a couple things happening with newsletters. And then tomorrow we will launch a back to school hub that will have all of the, on our website, that will have all of the upcoming events and, first day dates and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be just in time for the newsletters that go out on Sunday. The other thing that we had a lot of fun with was supporting the Raiders Read Together program. I know you guys have heard about that, but it was well attended this year. We always have fun with it and always get the community involved too in different ways. So whether it's being a guest reader or being a local business that puts a stamp on the bookmark on a little road map, the community seems to really enjoy it as well. So that was a lot of fun. That just wrapped up a couple of weeks ago. And finally, Ms. Lombard alluded to this earlier, but one thing we're really excited to do this year that will be a priority area for my team will be to try to kind of jumpstart our alumni community and try to find out what our graduates are up to. And we're going to do that in kind of two different ways as outlined in that memo, but one will be kind of a storytelling campaign on social media where we will try to get people to submit what they're doing, what are they up to now, and how can they connect with us for their benefit, and how can we connect with them to perhaps help in some of the future readiness initiatives that we have with our kids, and inviting them to come back in and tell our kids about what they're doing.
And then the other piece of that will be establishing an alumni hall of fame. So it'll kind of be going along like this together, you know, but maybe not everybody's a Hall of Famer, but certainly everybody has a story to tell. So, we're looking forward to getting that going. This summer, it's also kind of fun because it's the 175th for Huntley, and I can see it really being a fun way to bring community together. So, I've been working on that a little bit. There's some other routine, mundane sort of website updating things that are really important and critical to get done over the summer. And then we've had some events. We did the Grafton Food Pantry fundraiser that the Huntley Fire did last Saturday. And then there's another one that we will do at the Huntley Farmers Market. We have a table there and a school bus so that the kids can come out, they can see the bus, they can get on the bus if they want to. We can get out back to school information at these events. So we look forward to that one. And then Monday, we are supposed to serve as the host site for the Huntley Chamber's Mobile Monday event, which is a casual networking event open to the public, and we'll be doing it here in the parking lot, we think, as long as, conditions are good. So, so you're all invited, everyone's invited. It's from 11:30 to 1:30 here at District Office in the,
North.
Door 3 lot.
Door 3 lot. Yep, that's it. Anybody have any questions on what we're trying to accomplish here?
And thank you for starting up the alumni search for getting this thing going. It's refreshing to try and get that off the ground. There's a lot of news from, what Huntley students are doing after they're graduating. There was some exciting news from the baseball arena, just the Major League draft, which is exciting. And not to focus on that, but certainly that's one story that's made the press recently. It's nice to get that story out, especially if those alumni are willing to come back in some way and share with our students, this is where my path led me. So, fantastic.
That's exactly what we're hoping for, so
Thank you.
we'll be looking forward to it.
I think, Mrs. Barr, one of the things is when you talked about that two-pronged kind of road, right? Where are they now, and highlighting those stories via social media, and then that second of the contributions to, whether it's to the community or the whole there, we'll be getting information out to jumpstart the application process. So what is the criteria for the Hall of Fame notification, and a committee getting together to be those people who will be reading those submissions. And then October, when homecoming is, but for 2026 is too soon for that first. We really want to make sure that we get that out and market it and have time for people to submit submissions to be reviewed by this robust committee. But then that starting in at the homecoming game in 2027 annually, that we're working out the number, but maybe 3 to 5 people who would be selected would be announced and brought, forth at the homecoming game and all of that. Just that whole idea of homecoming and bringing your community and alumni and current together. So we're pretty excited about both of those things.
And just mention too that the foundation is probably going to have a hand in some of this too, for sure, a presence on the committee, but they're interested in this as well and supporting it.
And one of those graduates, it's always really cool when pretending can say, I'm a Huntley grad too.
It is.
And board member.
Really cool.
You're welcome. I was wondering about that Hall of Fame criteria,
Yeah,
being a superintendent or a board member.
Oh, yes, for you? Well, check the website.
No, for these two.
Oh.
They qualify?
Yes.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of you up there who might qualify.
All right.
And then the FOIA report as well, yes. So we had 3 FOIAs fulfilled in the past month. One of those was a commercial request. We've been lucky. We haven't had quite as many. There is a lot of chatter right now about frequent requesters of FOIA. and just who those people are, going back to AI and things like that. So I just, talk with others and get a feel for what's happening with that. It's kind of a quickly moving situation that we need to just monitor and look at the laws and make sure we're doing our part, but, yeah, interesting times, FYI. Any questions on the ones that were fulfilled?
Nope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, over to policy and legislation. Ms. Marino.
Thank you. Yes, so, policy, we have, well, where am I right here? 14.1. We have a legislative committee update. Swampus?
Just wanted to highlight a couple of the bills that will have impact on school districts. We had HB 3772, which is all around suspension and expulsion practices around our pre-K through second grade students. So there's some restrictions around those components. Just tried to highlight some of these, and more information will get fleshed out with the various provisions that will go into effect for this school year and others into next year. When we look at that, we already know at the ECC level, we cannot suspend or expel. For our K-2 students, any suspension longer than 3 school days. The superintendent is the only person in the school district that can provide that oral or written approval. No longer can that happen at the building level. In addition, any suspensions issued that are longer than 3 days cannot exceed the number of days it takes for the school district to review, amend, develop, and implement a behavior intervention or safety plan for the students. And so that was recently signed off last week. And again, more provisions will be going into place for this year and in next year, and we will bring forward with just our behavior policies and things that we talk about with PTAC. We'll make sure that we bring more information forward for you all, for our staff, for our families. I believe we may have highlighted this one before, but it was signed off on. HB 4535, an e-learning day may be utilized by school district due to being selected as a polling place, and it does not count towards the school district's minimum number of emergency days. As of right now, the district office is the only building that we utilize as a polling place, so even if there was one in one building, we would not close one building and leave the others open. And Bill 2427, that's the cell phone ban, looking at instructional time beginning with the 28-29 school year, where policies would have to be adopted by a school district. At this time, it has been sent to the governor. We do know that that is something that was kind of initiated around that area already. We do have things in place already that would be in line. So if that went further, we would just need to look to make sure that our parameters are in line with the legislation during the 31-32 school year. Wow, that seems so far away. 2031-32. And then the last one, just to highlight here, was there were HB Bill 3526 will provide certain exemptions, overload to exemptions to the retirement 6% TRS penalty. That would be on school districts, things like overload courses, summer school, and that was recently signed off. So those are things that we'll continue to work with finance and HR and through any of our staffing hiring for some of those positions and anything that might come forward with any contract negotiation. But we know that we'll get more information on a lot of the things that have been going on in legislation, and we'll be bringing those forward as they come forward. So any questions on any of those?
We have the opportunity to deny polling places, correct?
Yes. To deny what? I'm sorry, I missed that.
To allow them to use our buildings to deny them.
Oh, yes, yes, okay. I had a question. Can we speak a little bit, or maybe I'll pick your brain, on 3772? While I appreciate it, my brain automatically goes to a situation in another state with a 6-year-old, right? That's going to be that age, that grade range, and threats that were made. What position does that leave us in? When somebody, it's saying it restricts suspensions or expulsion practices for pre-K through 2nd grade students.
Doesn't say they cannot. That next layer would be that I'm not exactly sure the specifics on that one, but right now a principal can go ahead and issue that. They need my approval to issue that moving forward.
Okay, so
It still can happen.
Okay,
I
it's
just
not
need to know.
completely forbidding it, it's that extra layer.
Correct.
Before, okay,
Yeah.
I thought it was restricting it and tight, I was like, now we've got a safety plan, but what if safety plan isn't appropriate? It's,
Correct.
thank you.
They,
for
and
clarifying
if they
that
need
for
me, they just call us up or whatever it is. So it's that restriction is that second layer needs to be, I need to review that and be able to.
Before
Yes.
it's enacted and parents are notified of the
Yes.
case. Thank you for clarifying that for me, because I was a little bit.
Yes.
I get it, but I don't. All right. So does anyone else have any questions on this report? Okay. We're on policy, so real quick, and I hope this is the right time to bring it up, and if I need to move it to new business. But I know at the last meeting, we were talking about revenue contracts and administrative procedures. And as we continue to tweak and solidify that, I know there was some talk earlier last week, and it's not the first time that it's happened. I think it happened 2 years ago as well, where items are being sold and the vendor location is wrong. Who's responsible for proofreading before things go to print to make sure that our vendors are, there was a coupon for a vendor for a sandwich place, and the restaurant is honoring, but it specified a location, I think in Urban A or something, and not Huntley. So my question is, who's responsible for proofreading the template of coupons before they get printed and they're sold? Can we include that in our?
The vendor would be working with, right, the vendor should proofread.
Whoever is working with the vendor, so if
Yeah.
it's a given club or a given program we have, it's them. Yeah.
So the coach would.
The coach.
The coach would,
Right.
okay.
Should be.
Just-
Yeah, nobody else would see that, we wouldn't see that. No.
Yeah.
So if there is a proof of template before, then it
Well,
gets.
we
We
would
can check
hope,
into that.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't have that answer, that's why I phoned a friend over there, but we can get that
So
answer.
yes, it was, you know, and it, luckily the vendor is honoring it, and that's not a problem, but it was with, one of our sports people. And it was for the sandwich shop, and again, they're honoring the coupon, I think they know it's a misprint. But just in the future, just making sure, because if somebody wanted to be a stickler, they could be like, sorry, we're not. That's it.
I'll talk to the athletic department.
Thank you. I know, I'm like a thorn with these, I'm sorry, guys. Okay. All right. Nothing else with policy then, and so we are going to move to 15, buildings and grounds. Mr. Troy.
Thank you. Item 15.1, operations and maintenance, Mr. Lindquist, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Troy.
What you got for us today?
A few updates here. I'm just gonna run through them and, answer any questions you might have at the end. Number one, the Heinemann DX cooling replacement project startup for air handlers 1, 2, and 3 started this week. So we are starting to have some air conditioning back at Heinemann. Mr. Altmeyer touched base last month on the ComEd incentive rebate. That's over $660,000. ComEd will be coming out next Monday to actually physically walk the job and see and get the ball rolling on that rebate. Number 2 on the list, GSF summer cleaning. The Cabin, LeGee, Conley, and Admin, and Martin have all been cleaned already. Marlow and the high school are going on right now. Marlowe is scheduled to be completed by the end of next Thursday, or next Wednesday, by Thursday. New lawnmower for the Huntley High School athletic fields. It says here, in process of trading, we actually took ownership of that lawnmower yesterday. It was a 13-year-old lawnmower we traded in. This was purchased through the Sourcewell co-op contract through John Deere over in Hampshire. Crack fill, seal coating, and striping scheduled for July 24th and 25th. That is for the new asphalt here and at the high school. We pushed this one to a Saturday just to accommodate people not being here. And then finally, actually not finally, I have two. There's one that's not on here. Chesed playground mulch is scheduled to be replaced before the start of school. That is probably one of our biggest playgrounds we have, a lot of mulch. And then finally, at the August COW meeting, I will be presenting the 10-year capital project replacement plan. But that's a big one to talk about the future.
Building, Chris, was there a, was there water main, water pipe?
There was actually 3 water main breaks in one day, between Martin and Marlowe, between the fire hydrants. 8-inch water main, and we just don't know when we can't predict when that's gonna happen.
But everything's good with those?
Everything's good, right, everything's good.
Who's, is that a village responsibility?
That's
That's our responsibility, okay.
So the hydrants, that's only the villages, this campus.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, got it. What, is there maintenance or anything that we can do to?
Nothing out of what we already do.
That work?
Yeah, we flush them regularly.
Interesting that happens in the summer.
It's happened in the winter too.
No, the winter one, you can understand it because pipes can freeze or the water freezes.
I hope those don't freeze because they're pretty deep.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
summer water main breaks.
Yeah. It could be the acidic in the soil, it could be any combination, that is just eating away at that steel piping that's over 25 years old.
That was the next
24 years
question,
old.
is the age.
Yeah.
Well, I believe it was Martin, a couple of years ago, we had to do an e-learning day, right? Because,
We did.
yeah, there was,
Yeah.
those that,
Drop the water pressure, yeah.
What is something like that run us? Because it was an unexpected expense.
Not as much as you would think.
Okay.
I think it was about 4,000 or 5,000 at that. But it was 3 repairs in one day. Sure. It was supposed to be only one. They fixed the one, up pops another one for some reason. It was just anomaly that just rarely happens.
Okay. How's, any other big summer projects or little summer projects that we're working through that didn't make the list necessarily?
Not really.
Okay.
No, it's, most of the money for the capital projects went into Heinemann this summer. That's a fairly large project. Oh, yeah.
All right.
So next summer, you'll see next month, we're predicting a lot of carpet replacement in the schools.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Think any questions on any of that?
Mr. Bobby, you're the committee tonight.
None for me, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board in general? All right, not hearing any, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Item 16, board discussion topics. I don't have anything to add unless somebody else does.
I have one. As you look at the order of our agendas for the future, I know we've had a lot of deep conversations with the finance committee, and it seems like it's always the tail end of the agenda. And I think from an effort to be transparent with the community, we should move it to the top of the agenda. Specifically, I'm just gonna throw out there after the student board representatives for future agendas, so we could still have the superintendent's report, have the student board representative report, and then have the finance committee. So it's earlier on in the meeting, so if someone from the community wants to hear what's going on from a fiscal part, they're not having to watch sometimes 2 hours worth of video to find out where it's gonna land. I bring it up because I was actually talking to a couple consultants that educate school districts in another state on their school district's finances, and this came up as a recurring issue. Sometimes communities didn't know that there was real financial issues because it was at the third hour of the agenda item of the board meeting versus at the beginning of the board meeting. That is that, well, we have our finance discussion usually after 9 o'clock, sometimes after 10 o'clock. So I just have that suggestion to throw out there to the rest of the board.
Well, we still have people's attention, but freshman into the
That's
meeting.
fine, we can move it up to, two agenda items, that's fine. I don't see that as a big. All right, anything else to bring up?
I just had a quick question, two of them.
Thank you, Ed.
Our FOIA responses, is there a way to move them so that they can be found a little bit easier on the website? Sometimes when I'm going to look at a FOIA response, maybe I'm just not knowing the quick link. I'm having to search in the search bar, FOIA response or FOIA fulfilled, and I can never remember the verbiage because I don't look at them like every month or every week, so I'm not in it all the time. It's just, I'm like, oh, I want to see what this one was. Is there a way for it to be its own? It's kind of under FOIA, and then it's a hyperlink in there, but is there any way to move it to its own?
Right on there, you click.
Yes,
Are you talking about the fulfilled FOIAs,
Yeah.
not the general FOIA information?
correct, the fulfilled FOIA, so it's in there, and then under FOIA, and then towards the bottom of like the paragraph, it says fulfilled, and you click on the hyperlink, and then it takes you to that. But is there any way
Yeah.
to move that so it's?
I'm not sure if the moving makes sense. What I think we could do, because it's just highlighted text right now, it's hyperlinked text, so I could create a button on the page. Is that what you mean? Or are you?
Yeah, something that's a little bit.
That would, I think,
easier
help.
To just
Yeah.
find, because I go digging, and like I said, I can't remember the verbiage.
So then you're
The search
reading it.
bar, I'm searching fulfilled, completed.
Oh, you should just be able to put FOIA, and it'll take you there. It's under community also. But I think you're saying once you get to the page, it'd be nice to have a faster, easier way to get to.
Yeah.
Yes, I can do that.
Okay.
Yes,
Easy peasy.
thank you. Makes sense.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, 16.2, there's minutes for the June 18th meeting for approval for the next board meeting. If there's any typos or anything that you notice, just contact Sharon and Mrs. Woods while there's, because somebody's out and somebody's going to be in, so depending on the timing of that. Consent agenda, item 17, we have item 17.1 for minutes and 17.2 for handbooks. Anything to discuss before approving the consent agenda for those two items? Not hearing anything, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Mr. Feckety, roll call, please.
Mrs. Marie?
Yes.
Mrs. Myrino? Yes. Mr. Bobby?
Yes.
Mr. Ruth?
Yes.
Mr. Troy?
Yes.
Mr. Feckety?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Item 18.1, HR personnel. Is there anything to comment on this one?
Nothing bad.
All right, with that, I move to approve HR personnel report as presented.
Second.
Second for Mr. Feckety. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Troy?
Yes.
Mrs. Myrino? Yes. Mr. Feckety?
Yes.
Mr. Bobby?
Yes.
Mrs. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Ruth?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Item 18.2, IDOT hazardous busing resolution. Dr. Zier, anything to add on to this one? I know it's pretty standard, routine stuff.
I'm gonna circle back to personnel real quick.
Oh.
We do have, you just voted on that list is our Assistant Athletic Director, Ryan Kelly, and we do have, Mr. Kelly and his family.
I'm so sorry, I apologize.
That's okay. Wanted to make sure the vote went through first, Mr. Kelly. And he already
Welcome and
has,
congratulations.
he already has the flag, so he's ready to go.
Welcome and congratulations. All right, and thank you for catching that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, 18.2, the IDOT hazardous busing resolution.
Yeah, this is something we do annually. So as you all know, we bus, every student, in the district. If you would have a neighborhood school, you can draw a 1.5-mile radius around that school, and, districts don't have to bus, those kiddos. But we do that because of the three hazards we have out there. So those three hazards would include walking along the road, walking on the road, or you have dangerous intersections. So obviously, if you look at Harmony Road, not walkable, Reed Road, we have multiple dangerous intersections there. And then we do not have the infrastructure here at Square Barn Road with sidewalks and such where kids will be able to walk to school. Even though we do have a light out there, if you on the north side, would have some issues without putting that in. So this is something we do every year. Also involves reimbursement through transportation funding, I believe, Mr. Allmeyer. We need to make sure that we take this action and get the resolutions into where it needs to.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the board on this? Is there anything I move to approve the IDOT hazardous buzzing resolution as presented?
Second.
Second from Mr. Bobby. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Ruth?
Yes.
Mr. Beckley?
Yes?
Ms. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Bobby?
Yes.
Mrs. Myarino? Yes. Mr. Troy?
Yes, motion passes 6-0. Item 18.3, the Mobile Health Solutions Statement of Work. Dr. Zier, one more time.
Yeah, so the statement of work would be an agreement between Huntley and Mobile Health Solutions. They would be taking on our random drug testing for our student athletes. So we have a board policy that has us put something together. So we've done this in the past through, we had a drug counselor. We did that as part of her contract. We have since moved on from that agreement. And so I went out and I've been working with Mobile Health Solutions here to bring an opportunity here for that random drug testing to continue for board policy. And so essentially what you have outlined here is the statement of work that our legal reviewed very greatly and made many additions to. So in favor of the district, and Mobile Health Solutions was in agreement with everything that we passed over. And then at the other attachment there is the packet that goes to our student athletes where they sign off, parents sign off, a witness signs off that we have permission for that. So, and then our procedures, I got the pricing there on the front of what that would look like as the high school does that throughout the year. So the Ms. Castens and Kelly oversee this at the high school.
Very good. Any questions from the board?
Well, I do have, like, this is gonna sound obnoxious, and I don't mean it to sound obnoxious, but like, why is this in our policy? If it's not a requirement from the state, why is this part of our policy?
I believe it became part of our policy a number of years ago when it was originally going to be a component through IHSA. And as we looked through that, one of the things over the years that has been something that our district has done that very few others have done is to be able to do this. As we heard from some of our student board representatives last year, this is something that, does have some of our students second guessing or thinking about that this is a potential, it could be a deterrent. It also has been something that has been a benefit to families. I know this is now, we've stepped away from the whole Partners for Prevention component because we are able to do that through Quick Care Solace and still provide those components. But it was something a number of years ago, with a different board. It's something that the board could have a conversation and discussion about. We have looked at the amount of times that we would do that throughout the school year. There have been some changes, with that and all of that over the years. But it is something that this board could have a conversation around.
And I understand the deterrent component. I also feel when we've talked about limiting, I don't know if this is still limit to twice per semester. Would that still be what we will?
Yeah,
I know,
we're gonna let the high school determine the frequency.
But within that budget.
Yeah, we set a budget for them.
And I don't know how often athletes have been tested. With my 3 students that went through, and we're talking about 12 years, they were never once randomly pulled or tested or anything. So when you think statistically, how often is it happening, and is it necessary beyond a deterrent? And I understand where the policy came from when we were trying to parallel along with what we thought was going to be part of IHSA and guidelines, but is this something that is needed? Anyone else?
I think that would be a good discussion, a future board topic. But before us, we have right now. So unless there's an impetus to vote this down and then be contrary to the policy itself, I think the prudent thing to do is to follow the policy, to mirror it with the scope of work. And we can discuss down the road if we want to remove the policy overall or if there is a need for it, as you mentioned. But I think this is, what you're raising is a bigger question than what we have in front of us to vote on.
Did Dr. Beelan speak to this, saying we're like one of the only Fox Valley schools that are doing it? I even asked, even then, like, why are we doing it then? Was it really an answer?
Well, and help me out here because I'm not going 100% from memory, but I think this incorporated or was a response to performance-enhancing drugs. I'm trying to make sure that even as a deterrent, our students were not cheating athletically. And then, in turn, by having that by being part of a performance-enhancing drug, now you are compromising the integrity of other athletes who are not doing that. And this served, or was intended, I believe, to serve deterrent, keep kids on a level playing field.
And that was through the IHSA, right? There was going to be, I believe it is in their language, that if there was a concern that they then could, do those random screens. And so, I'd have to go back and think how many years ago it was.
That's why I'm saying I'm going from memory here.
Right.
That's what I remember. And it might have not jumped the gun. It might have been the response to even at the Major League Baseball level and other professional sports where performance-enhancing drugs became front and center and very controversial, as history has proven in Hall of Fame voting and statistics for players and things like that. And the fear at that point was that all of that trickles down from the adult level down to the kids level, who now look at adults. It's okay for them, so it's okay for us. And then you're shortchanging kids who are trying to get academic or athletic scholarships by legitimately performing, and now they're doing other things to try and get through those scholarships. So I think the intent was honorable at that time. Whether IHSA followed through on their intent or didn't, and we didn't adjust with the times, it's a topic for another discussion with the high school athletic department. But here we are with this topic directly in front of us now.
And this is for drug and alcohol, not performance-enhancing drugs. Am I correct?
There's 2 panels on there.
Okay.
That first panel you're looking at is going to be your marijuana, amphetamines, codeine, things of that nature. That second panel you're looking at is for anabolic steroids.
Okay.
Mr. Troy, am I correct that a no vote on 18.3 would not change the policy?
Correct. This is just for the scope of work that's in front of us now.
Right.
But voting no on it, the way I see this, voting no on it now runs contrary to the policy because this is in alignment with the policy itself
So
of doing the testing.
this would go to Ms. Lombard, Dr. Zaire, or Mr. Troy, or anyone, if we were to vote no on 18-3 tonight, what position does that leave the district in?
I think we would need to, bring back, recommendations, or discussion at the board level. I want to start that at the high school level too, right, with athletics administration, bring forward to the board for continued conversation and discussion, do we continue this? And then there would need to be revisions to either policy and or, student handbook.
Is there an option to table this or no?
But I don't believe that we would be in violation of any of those things that are in those approved handbooks or whatnot, to say we want to bring this forward. Doesn't mean we have to start this August 19th, right? There's not a specific date that's in there for
I
that.
think, the big thing, I know when they have kids signing up for sports, they get those
It's
packets.
signed off
They
on
get those,
those.
they sign off and get the packets out and everything in terms of the timing, right? for the fall
Right,
sports.
as a parent, you're signing off and authorizing the school to administer
Yeah.
a random.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, I would assume they hand those out here in the fall, to almost everybody.
They hand them out, at the beginning of every season, or when you're, registering. And again, that could be at that time they're signing off on that. I'd have to look at that permission, is that also through that, or IHSA as well? I'd have to go back and recall what those all, look like. But as you talked about, you had 3 children who went through there, you probably signed off on those and
I had
never once
never
did it.
once.
But so, we could still go through that process.
Yeah, we can still continue, that's why I'm asking, is there we table this till the next regular board meeting? Maybe we can have some discussion at the August committee meeting about policy and how we're feeling.
That's what I'm wondering, what
What is it?
Mrs. Marina's asking, like, I guess technically, like, what's the technical process to pull this from the agenda, vote on it as a separate motion to carry it to the committee of the whole?
Sure, so the technical term here, and I'm gonna play parliamentarian put that hat on for a moment. The technical term is to postpone the vote. To table the vote, technically in Robert's rules, is when there's an emergency in the building, like a fire, you have to table something, it's because of an emergency situation. Technical term is postpone, and then we put a finite date on it and say until the August Board of Education meeting. Great, it's postponed,
I thought it
and
was
there's a
tabled.
finite time.
I think it is tabled.
No, it's not a table. Table is when there's an emergency in the building and you have to evacuate.
So what I'm hearing is,
Have a motion.
right, and if it's a postpone, and then if it is agreed that we would move that forward to, a discussion in August or September, that our team can put together, looking at, the rationale that was put in place before. It's been a number of years. Does this still meet the needs of the community and the district, in her review with whatever's with IHSA, as well as just our policy and what recommendations, and that discussion can come forward. So we could say that, yes, we're moving this forward because it is part of our, current state of the district, and our procedures and practices and all of that, but we don't always have to do things just because we've always done them. So that's what I'm hearing. We'll bring back forward.
So should I then make a motion to postpone
Well,
the vote on this, to give it a date of our August regular meeting? I'll pull that up so that we have a definitive date,
Yes,
so that we can have a discussion at the committee as a whole.
correct.
Go ahead, Mr. Peck.
That's how I would pursue this.
Okay,
But however, I think that this is a conversation, a crucial conversation to also have with the high school.
right.
Oh, well, yes.
No,
Yeah.
this isn't just our decision up here, this is a deeper conversation at that level with the administration that deals with the kids and has to deal with the impacts of this not coming to fruition, because like you said, there's going to be
Yeah.
student handbooks and
Right.
other information that goes out to parents and all of the dominoes that feed off of this, in
Right.
my opinion.
Right, we will, between now and the August committee of the whole, work with that high school administration to look at those things that you've posed, bring forward our recommendations, and then you can have that discussion after we've been presented that.
And if we deal with this with a policy level, I think that we go through the first reading and the second reading. Or is it just rescind the policy outright?
Well, but,
I'll have to look at that.
Because we don't roll back policy. I don't remember having to roll back a policy before, so, for us to just do it, and then, but it doesn't allow for the community to have input on it either. That's why I'm cautious in just saying, yep, we're gonna revoke this policy.
And if we're going to move forward with it, though, honestly, knowing what we all know, if we're gonna continue it, I would then like to bring it into the middle schools as well, because we know that this is hitting our youth younger and younger. And so maybe it's a deterrent, if we're gonna say this is a good deterrent tool for our students, just fine if that's how we're gonna move forward with this and continue policy. If we choose not to remove that policy, then maybe we amend the policy and we include our middle schools in it. They are district student athletes as well. And they're dabbling in this younger and younger. And we've had this discussion before, getting to them at that younger age could prevent a bigger problem in the long run. So we could go one of two ways.
I have a counterpoint to the discussion at the moment. I feel like we need to make a motion on 18.3 and vote on it tonight, because it is our current policy, and I think it puts the district in a really bad position if we don't have an agreement in place on our current policy. And that was why I was asking the question I was asking. And there's no binding, just reading this very quickly, there's nothing binding in here that says it's only the high school. There's nothing binding in here that says it's 1,000 students, it's 5 students. Everything is pretty open and flexible. It just says that this is a service that would, unless I'm reading something incorrectly, so someone jump in, but this just says that this is a service that would provide drug testing for us in the event that we want to provide drug testing. So I feel like we need to vote on this one tonight to allow fall sports registration to open, because that's going to open prior to our next meeting, allow student handbooks to be distributed. Like, there's some other things that I feel like are riding on this, but I do feel like there is a valuable conversation to be had on this globally, and I don't see anything in here that is binding that would prevent us from moving forward with this as it's presented tonight, and then still have a larger policy conversation in August, whenever that needs to occur.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm sorry, just to paraphrase, if I will, we can still vote to have this in place and send 0 people to have it.
Correct. That's yeah. That's exactly what I was saying.
Yes. It doesn't preclude us or require us to send a fixed amount of students for testing. If we send it, this is how much it will cost.
Right. So I feel like we need to make a motion on 18.3.
So I'll go ahead and do that. I move to approve the agreement between Huntley School District 158 and the Medical Health Solutions Organization for the statement of work as presented.
Mr. Troy, it's mobile health.
No,
There's a typo in there.
there's a typo.
Okay.
Yeah, one said mobile, one said medical, I was gonna point it out.
I was reading the small print, not the
Sorry, it's
big
mobile.
print. Okay.
It is
excuse me.
mobile.
I correct myself to Mobile Health Solutions statement of work.
Second.
Second from Mr. Root. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bobby?
Yes.
Ms. Myerino? Yes. Mr. Ruth?
Yes.
Mr. Troy?
Yes.
Mr. Fecity?
Yes.
Ms. Murray?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Item 18.4, Northern.
So, Mr. Troy, can we make that a point for an upcoming agenda to have a policy conversation? Like, I just want that
I
to be,
watched Ms. Lombard put that in her notes.
okay, all right. I don't want it to
Her
fall off of
shoulder,
our
and
radar.
I watched her do it. Thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, yeah, I watched her scribble it down.
Okay.
I think we're good.
And plus, parents can still opt out of this, right? They can not consent. That's what it says in here. Or,
They can, but then they don't participate. If they were,
They lose their eligibility.
well, then we need to have discussions. Yeah. I don't think, I mean, is this something that is, our district is begging for this? Like, wow, we have such a huge issue. You know, that's where my brain is going.
Lane.
I think it's just an added expense.
It's common in the workforce and industry.
But
And
Dr.
I think-
Beelan said the whole Fox Valley doesn't even use this. It's not even on.
We're the only school in the region.
That's all.
I guess I'm gonna be the odd man out, because I think this is a good program, and I would like to extend it to the grade school, or middle school.
Right, so if we're gonna do it, let's
Dig into
do
it
it,
at the
do
top.
it right, and,
Dig into it at the top.
okay.
Next action item, item 18.4, Northern Illinois Health Insurance Program. Anything else to add or question on this one before we vote?
Handcuffs on them.
Really, we're pretty much like a recommendation to move forward, in the process with them. We'll have some more things that, you need to back to the board, in fall like we normally do.
Right, okay. That I move to approve the transition to the Northern Illinois Health Insurance Cooperative Program.
Second.
One quick question, I'm presuming they've already accepted our application. They voted up to, what I say?
Yes, that's my understanding. That vote
The
took place last month.
executive board has already voted yes.
All right, the motion is to approve the transition to the non-HIP cooperative between us and Oregon.
And that was seconded by Mr. Bobby.
I second it.
And Mr. Bobby seconded, thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Fecity?
Yeah.
Mr. Bobby?
Yes.
Ms. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Ruth?
Yes.
Mrs. Myrino? Yes. Mr. Troy?
Yes, motion passes 6-0. Item 18.5, FY 27 budget hearing, Mr. Altmeyer. Setting the budget date and the time, the hearing date and time.
Correct, this is standard operating procedure, really nothing to add. This is setting the date for September 17th at 7 p.m.
All right, thank you very much. I move to approve the recommended date and time for the budget hearing for the FY 27 budget as presented.
Second.
Second for Mrs. Myrino. Roll call vote, please.
Point of clarification, does that, because I can't get my calendar out, open fast enough, does that correspond with an existing board meeting, or is this, okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's always on the same date.
Thank you.
We'd like take a pause and then shift it to that.
Yeah.
And I don't know where I insert this. I would ask if this be at the beginning of the.
It always
It always is,
It always
yeah.
is.
All right, thank you.
It's a separate meeting, so we suspend one meeting, move to the other, and then jump back procedurally. All right, motion and a second is on the board. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Troy?
Yes.
Mr. Fecity?
Yeah.
Ms. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Bobby?
Yes.
Mrs. Myrino? Yes.
Everybody?
I'll vote yes, too.
Mr.
That's
Ruth.
what I thought. Mr. Ruth votes yes.
I apologize, Mr. Ruth.
Don't worry.
Motion passes 6-0. Item 18.6, payables. We have the payables that are presented here in the agenda. Anything to add to this, Mr. Altmeyer?
Nothing to add.
Sir, I move to approve the purchase orders for the dollar amounts that are listed in the agenda as presented.
Second.
Second, for Mr. Ruth. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Troy? Mr. Troy?
Yes.
Mr. Fecity?
Yes.
Ms. Myrino? Yes. Mr. Ruth?
Yes.
Mr. Bobby?
Yes.
Ms. Murray?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Item 18.7, revenue contracts. Anything to add on the revenue contracts?
There's two there, nothing to add.
Very good. Move to approve the revenue contracts for the various fundraising activities as presented.
Second.
Second from Mr. Feckety. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Myarino? Yes. Mr. Ruth?
Yes.
Mr. Troy?
Yes.
Mr. Feckety?
Yes.
Ms. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Bobby?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Item 18.8, National School Lunch Rate Increase. Mr. Altmeyer, I know this is pretty standard boilerplate.
Yeah, this is standard boilerplate. Last year, we had a little more discussion because last year we increased the type A lunch rate by 25 cents. But on an annual basis, in order to meet the current federal net reimbursement free lunch rate of $4.16, while our current type A lunch rate is at $3.60, we are required that at a minimum, we increase that to continue to get closer and closer to that current federal net reimbursement rate. And so the recommendation on the table is at this time to just increase the type A lunch rate by 10 cents to $3.70.
Sir?
Just curious how we picked 10 cents instead of 10
Well,
cents or something.
I think historically over the years, we've always done 10 cents to kind of keep pace with what we need to keep pace. Last year, we increased it based on food prices, based on what we were seeing in the market. We also do look at what other schools in the area are charging for their type A lunch rates. And last year, with that 25-cent increase, we became kind of, not at the top, but kind of more in line with everybody else. And so in order to keep in line with everybody else with the 10 cents, and knowing what we just recently did with registration fees, with athletic fees, with participation fees, administration is recommending a 10-cent increase at this.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. For students who are on a free or reduced lunch, is the district still reimbursed the $4.16?
Yes. So anybody who's on free, we get reimbursements. Anybody who's on reduced, we get reimbursements. And then we also get reimbursements on every single meal we serve because we are on the National School Lunch Program.
Right, okay,
Correct.
thank you.
Okay, with that, I move to approve 10-cent decrease for type A lunch increase as guided by federal regulations.
Second.
Second for Mr. Root. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Troy?
Yes.
Ms. Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Bobby?
Yes.
Ms. Myarino? Yes. Mr. Feckety?
Yes.
Mr. Ruth?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Item 19, public comment. Do we have any?
There are none in the.
Very good. No public comments. Number 2, adjournment. I move to adjourn our meeting at 9:43 p.m.
Second.
And a second, all in favor, please say aye.
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 What happened is this,
No opposition,
we
motion
sing
passes
happy birthday to
6-0.
Mr.
Please drive safely in the smoke. Thank you, good night, and good luck.